Hey, glad you could make it. Welcome to the first ever videography of the world's sexiest new film star, Leonardo DiCaprio. In this program, we'll be taking you on a thumb-packed adventure through the life and times of this sensational young actor. It's all you ever wanted to know about Leo and more, revealing insights, amazing footage, fantastic facts, and, of course, plenty of luscious Leo to drool over. By the age of 23, Leonardo DiCaprio achieved what many actors can only dream about. He is respected both for his acting and his ability to pull the crowds like no other star, even when he's simply turning up to see his own film. Often compared to the late, great James Dean, Leonardo's meteoric rise to international stardom is a modern-day fairy tale. In films such as This Boy's Life, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and the notorious Basketball Diaries, Leo has portrayed outsiders and troubled teens, and it is partly his ability to empathize with the traumas of youth that has made him such a hit with teenage audiences. His good looks help, of course. Not that his appeal is restricted to the teenage girls who scream his name whenever he appears in public. With the huge success of Titanic, Leo has broadened his fan base to include cinema-goers of all ages. Even the internet can't escape Leo-mania, with hundreds of sites all over the world dedicated exclusively to him. These days, it seems everybody's loopy about Leo, and To Leo with Love is the perfect way to get to know him even better. So get ready for some Titanic-sized secrets as we chart the rise and rise of the biggest film star in the world. Okay, let's start by giving you the lowdown on Leo. Leo's full name is Leonardo Wilhelm DiCaprio. Bit of a mouthful. His unusual name comes from his having German and Italian parents, Ermelyn and George. Leo has a stepbrother called Adam. Oh, and by the way, Leo hates being called Leonardo. So if you are lucky enough to meet him and can manage to think of anything to say as you stare into those gorgeous blue eyes, remember, call him Leo. While we're on the subject of names, if you want proof that Leo really is the tastiest star on the planet, here it is. His nickname is Noodle. Leo was born in Los Angeles on November the 11th, 1974, which means he's a Leo. Just kidding. He's actually a Scorpio, and their perfect partners are... Oh, sorry guys, you'll have to wait for the answer, as all will be revealed later in our guide to Leo and the Stars, where you'll discover exactly what to say if you want to get to know Leo better. He went to school at John Marshall High School, and later attended the Center for Enriched Studies, both in his native Los Angeles. Here's his drama teacher to explain exactly what that is.
The Los Angeles Center for Enriched Studies is a magnet school with LA Unified School District, and this means that we take children from all over the city, all the different parts of the city, and we instruct them in subject matter that would not be offered at their school. And in addition to that, it's a college preparatory school, meaning that 99% of our students, when they graduate, are placed in some of the best universities in the nation.
And what of his physical attributes? Well, apart from his obvious qualities, Leo is a strapping 6-footer and weighs in at a healthy 140 pounds. And while he might not be the beefiest of leading men, well, who's complaining? Now let's look at the early years of Leo's life as we investigate how this remarkable boy grew from humble beginnings into the megastar he is today. Leo was born in Hollywood, but it was far from the center of glamour and show business we call Tinseltown. Leo grew up in a dangerous, violent, and poverty-stricken area he often refers to as Scumsville.
Come on, get tough on the street, get tough with the gang.
Although poor, his childhood was a happy one, and Leo used to terrorize the neighborhood with practical jokes. Among his many childhood pranks, he would throw avocados at people from the tree in his backyard. Another favorite was to chase stray cats around his local area. Whatever turns you on, Leo. These days, though, Leo's more interested in saving the planet and finding inner peace than being a troublemaker. His parents split up when he was just a baby, but he says that they still had a normal family relationship, even with his dad living several miles away. Despite being born in 1974, Leo is very much a child of the 60s. His parents were hippies who spent many years traveling around America until they had Leo and settled down. Groovy. His dad sold underground comics. Writers and artists such as Charles Bukowski and Robert Crumb, ask your parents, would often drop by the DiCaprio home. At school, Leo wasn't exactly the perfect pupil.
Go away, go away. I'm Shelley Miller, and I'm the counselor for grades usually 6, 7, 8, and 9. I was very surprised that he went into acting. I thought he'd be a comedian because he always liked to be the class clown. He liked to fool around. He liked to have attention brought onto him. Who am I looking at? He just didn't seem to fit in with the other kids. He wasn't into cliques, he wasn't into clothing, he always wore just t-shirts hanging, he never had any style to him, not like now. Excuse me, let me turn it off so you don't.
He found his studies boring and was apparently caught cheating during lessons, or sneaking off to spend the afternoon at Hollywood Billiards, where he was friends with the manager. He was also the target of bullies, and like many before him, used his natural gift for entertaining and playing the clown to get out of trouble. He also picked up the nickname Leonardo Retardo. I bet they were just jealous.
He didn't have a large group of friends, and the couple of friends that he stayed with here at school most of the time, they were very much like he. Nonconformist, didn't care what they wore. It was their own style of dress, his own style of hair, and if people didn't like it, oh well, that's too bad. And a lot of the kids might have looked at it as, oh my goodness, that's really strange, but Leonardo didn't care. It was just like, this is who I am, this is how I am, and there it is.
These early experiences undoubtedly helped him in his roles in the films This Boy's Life and What's Eating Gilbert Grape, in which he plays troubled children. Leo's passion for acting was clear at an early age, and he was encouraged in this by his parents, who regularly drove him to auditions, and by his father in particular, who told him never to give up his dream, even when it seemed he might never make it.
Leonardo asked me, and this is something that I remember really clearly because I just thought, what am I going to tell him? He came up to me back 10 years ago and said, Mr. Ingos, do you really think that there's a chance for me to really make it in acting? And I turned to him and I said, you know, Leo, you really have to stop and think that a lot of people try, but very few people really make it, which is the spiel that I give to everyone. And then I went on to say, which I try and tell everyone, is that if you have to do it, you have to do it. In order to pursue what your heart wants, you've got to go ahead and do it.
In 1979, it seemed the young Leo had made it when he landed a part in Romper Room. Unfortunately, his wild behavior meant he soon lost the role, and he was only 5 years old. Curiously, it was his stepbrother Adam who did as much as anyone to persuade him to pursue acting when he appeared in a TV commercial. Captivated at seeing his brother on screen and by the money he earned, Leo renewed his interest in earnest and appeared in over 30 commercials and safety films, eventually landing small roles on such shows as Roseanne and Lassie. It was with his scene-stealing role as homeless boy Luke Brower in the TV series Growing Pains that Leo's talent finally became apparent. Playing another disturbed youth, he shined in an otherwise run-of-the-mill show. It was a short step from here to film stardom in the movie that launched his big screen career, This Boy's Life. He's come a long way from the mean streets of Hollywood to the bright lights of Tinseltown. But one thing's for sure, he's going to carry on exciting and enchanting audiences around the world for many years to come.
And I'm just waiting to see him do a comedy part because he's tremendously funny. And it's something that he hasn't really, done yet on the screen. And if his natural comedic ability is so funny, and I just think that, I think that'd be great for him to move into the line of comedy too. My favorite is Romeo and Juliet.
Well, we did a lot of exercises, because with Shakespeare, what a lot of people don't realize is just the fact that you read one sentence and it's got, it could have 20 different meanings, and it could relate to something later in the movie, and it could sort of define a whole character or define a whole part of you or the story. So he's got a lot of different meanings. There's a lot of different ways of playing it, and I think that's what the great thing about, Shakespeare's work is. It's like the Constitution. It's always up for change.
Dreamy. Now get ready to find out what turns Leo on as we check out Leo's fave raves. Leo's a sensitive boy at heart and likes nothing better than to down a cool can of his favorite tipple, lemonade. He also rates Diet Coke, watch that waistline, and Fruitopia. Leo's not a big fan of alcohol, but he has been known to have the odd glass or two at one of his favorite LA haunts, the Derby. Or the Derby.
Hi, I'm Tracy. I'm the cocktail waitress at the Derby, and when Leo comes in here, he likes to drink a Cosmopolitan, which is a vodka martini with cranberry juice, triple sec, and lime juice. It's very sweet.
Just like Leo. His Italian roots come to the fore in his choice of food. His favorite nibble is pasta. Oh, and by the way, he hates meat, so don't offer him a bite of your hamburger. Everyone likes a good tune, and Leo is no exception, although his musical tastes veer towards the ancient, preferring the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, or Pink Floyd to the bands of today. Otis Redding's Sitting on the Dock of the Bay is his top single of all time. Having said that, though, he lists his favorite singer as Harry Connick Jr., jazzy crooner, ask your grandma, and his favorite type of music is rap. Confusing, eh? Just a thought, but if Leo were a rapper, do you think he'd be called Cool Leo? When it comes to his fellow actors, Leo goes for the heavyweights. Robert De Niro, with whom he shared the screen in This Boy's Life, Jack Nicholson, and Al Pacino, who also star along with De Niro in Leo's top movie choice, The Godfather trilogy. He has a soft spot for Meg Ryan in the female acting stakes, maybe because as a young lad he took a date to see When Harry Met Sally at the cinema. He's a bit of a sci-fi freak too, quoting The Twilight Zone as his #1 TV show. And he's probably caught an episode or two of Battlestar Galactica, especially the ones featuring his stepbrother Adam. If he wants to get away from it all, Leo's destination of choice is Germany. Little surprise considering his mother emigrated from there. He also speaks fluent German and enjoys German cuisine. Whilst relaxing with a hunk of Wiener Schnitzel, vegetarian of course, Leo would probably be rereading his favorite book, Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea. As long as those German girls can leave him alone for 10 minutes, that is. He fancies himself as a bit of an author too, saying his favorite hobbies when he's not acting are writing poetry and short stories. Told you he was a sensitive soul. He might also play a little pool or shoot some hoops. He's a mean basketball player, which must have come in useful in one of his early movies, The Basketball Diaries.
Hi, my name is Benjamin, and I work at Rite Aid here in Hollywood, and I met Leo when he came with his dad and bought a basketball off me, just like this. It was a Sunday morning. I think it was during the production of Titanic, and he came with his dad, and his dad bought the basketball. I think they were just going to play some basketball. He was very shy. He was kind of hiding behind his dad. He was wearing a t-shirt and sweatpants. His dad paid for it, and he picked up the ball and opened the package and started bouncing the ball. A few people noticed Leo, but it's, you know, they just left him alone.
He's got a taste for extreme sports too, with a special liking for bungee jumping and skydiving. Though after his close shave with death, you'd have to wonder why. More on that later. Although he rates Germany as his top destination, it's two American cities, New York and San Francisco, that he reckons are the best in the world. If you happen to find yourself in LA and you're desperate for a sight of your favorite star, you might catch a glimpse of him at Fred 62's diner or the posh Dresden rooms. Leo comes over all gothic when it comes to colors. He goes for black, green, and purple. Cool. His liking for green isn't too hard to fathom. Who wouldn't be envious of him? Someone he might wish he had been is his idol, the late actor James Dean. Although he also states that his least favorite people are James Dean wannabes. Driving is a big passion for Leo, and his all-time favorite car is the classic '69 Mustang. He currently owns a silver BMW coupe, but his pride and joy is his $35,000 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Let's find out why.
Hi, I'm Richard. This is the Grand Cherokee. This is Leo's favorite car. Let me tell you why. This is the fastest sports utility on the market today. 5.9-liter engine, 245 horsepower, and 300 foot-pounds of torque. Now that's power. There's plenty of room to stretch out. The luggage space is enlightening. If God made him any better, he'd keep him for himself. Check out the seat. Thank you very much.
Gee, thanks, Dick. When he's behind the wheel of his prized possession, Leo loves driving around his native LA. His favorite route is a leisurely cruise from the Griffith Park Observatory down the winding hills to the valley. Hold on. Whoa. By the people. Right, enough of that. As you can see, Leo is as fascinating and appealing off-screen as he is on it. He says his best quality is a good sense of humor. Some of you might disagree there. What you can't disagree with, though, is that Leo is much more than just a pretty face. Although committed to many different causes and issues, Leo has a special devotion to animals. One of his favourite haunts is the zoo in Griffith Park, where much of the James Dean film Rebel Without a Cause was shot. His first pet was a cat called Germaine, which unfortunately died, as did some frogs he brought back from a swamp one day. Despite, or maybe because of these early traumas, Leo has always had a passion for animals and feels very strongly about animal welfare and saving endangered creatures from extinction. Leo says yes to conservation and no to extermination. Ride on, Leo. Leo's rise to the top has been simply phenomenal, even though he regularly turned down ultra-commercial roles in favor of more challenging material. During his career, he's out-hunked Johnny Depp, outshone Robert De Niro, and even bared all in an erotic drama. Before he became one of the biggest stars of the silver screen, he learnt his trade on the small screen. His portrayal of a 15-year-old runaway in growing pains gave him valuable experience and a small teenage fan club. Robert De Niro summed up Leo's appeal, saying that he was an honest and natural actor. It's this naturalness that makes him so charismatic on screen and off. So, what does his drama teacher think of his career so far?
The first film that I saw was What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and I thought that was wonderful. And of course, a great supporter of Leo's role. I just thought that he did a great job, and that the Academy was right in nominating him. And I think that This Boy's Life was phenomenal. I think that he has done the best that anyone could do at the time, place, and with the part. In other words, it's hard to look at development, because I think he, even back with the early This Boy's Life and this What's Eating Gilbert Grape, he was able to delve into the part so much, even back then, that I look at them as personally as separate pieces, and each piece I see is developed tremendously in itself, and to compare them, it's very, very difficult. I think that with the Titanic, that it was a challenge for him, because it wasn't a dramatic character that he's used to just being so flamboyant with.
It's an epic in every sense of the word. Playing somebody that, I think didn't have a lot of demons for the first time. This guy is it's an epic in every sense of the word. Open-hearted, normal guy, and it was cool to play that, because I always sort of played characters that have been tormented or tortured in some way, and it was a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. Because, I'd never done sort of a film of this caliber. I've never done something that's sort of this epic in scale, and the simple fact that it combined, an intimate love story with a gigantic film like this, and it actually works, was unbelievable to me. It went beyond my expectation.
He was just the right guy for the gig. Of course, he didn't necessarily think he was the right guy for the gig. It took him a while to decide to make this film.
It's an epic in every sense of the word.
And I think that in that particular film, when he wasn't speaking, when his reactions on the camera were phenomenal. The scene when he was coming into the ballroom and when the people were ridiculing him and the reactions that he had to that ridicule, that's phenomenal. I mean, to me, because, you know, it's one thing to feel it, but it's another thing to make the audience empathize with you so much that they feel like, I felt like I was in the situation with him. And I think that a lot of his work tends to get you totally involved with what's going on so that you feel like you're there. I think that one of the reasons why the Titanic is phenomenal, there's so many reasons why it was phenomenal, but I think that it was the whole point of, well, what would have it been like for me if I was part of that ship? And then you sort of become involved with the whole thing, and then when the tragedy strikes, it's not just the two of them that are swimming and paddling around out there, it's you too. I mean, what would it feel like if you were going down, you know? It's just like, it's a talent, it's a gift, and he really has that.
The global success of Titanic has propelled Leo into the ranks of Hollywood's elite leading men, and he is now able to command upwards of $12 million per movie. Wow! Not bad for a 23-year-old. But how will he possibly cope with that type of success? More later. It's every teenage girl's dream to be the perfect partner for Leo. But have you got what it takes to capture the heart of a superstar Scorpio? When searching for the perfect partner, many people look to the stars for guidance. So here's our unique astrological guide to the heart of Leo. Scorpio males are well known for their penetrating eyes. Once he has you in his sights, there's simply no getting away, as if you try. He lives and breathes every emotion, and sex is big business to him. But beware, he's also the jealous type, so if you do manage to land him, don't stray. So who's the star sign Leo's most compatible with? If you're a fellow Scorpio, you'll find the relationship intense, serious, and liable to self-destruct, so be careful. Sagittarians make difficult but rewarding lovers. If you're a Capricorn girl, you may find the perfect partner in Leo. That's if you're ready for a power struggle. Although initially it may seem a bad match, Aquarian ladies may grow to find Leo's nature irresistible.
So tell us, was he a good kisser?
He was a good kisser. He was a good kisser. He was a good kisser.
Yeah, but what about his fans? How do you think they rate him? Come on.
I'm sure they know. In their dreams, they know that he's a good kisser. 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 Kisser.
Okay, no need to brag.
Kisser.
Hey, hold on, the record's stuck. And hey girls, don't worry, they were only acting. Pisceans can capture the heart of Leo, and with his liking for understanding and compassionate girls, he may never want to let you go. Leo will love an Arian's impulsive, happy-go-lucky nature. That's it for now. Don't worry if your star sign hasn't been mentioned yet. It will come up in part 2 of our look at finding love with Leo in the stars.
We're here at the world-famous Derby, where I'm a swing dance instructor, and I got to dance with Leonardo DiCaprio in a Vanity Fair layout shot by Annie Leibovitz, and here's my story. We worked here as swing dance teachers for the Derby, and I guess they wanted to do a layout shot here. It was a cool nightlife place, and we went on an extra call for just dancers in the background. And we took mug shots, and they called us back that night and said, okay, you all got the job. And then the next night, one of the ladies from the casting company called me and said, we showed all the pictures to Annie Leibovitz, and she actually was going to hire a model to dance with Leonardo, and they were going to put her in all the fancy clothes, but they decided that they wanted to use you if you wouldn't mind doing it, because you look the part, and you have the hair and everything. And I said, oh, I don't know, sure. Of course, my heart was going the whole time. didn't show up till 3 or 4. He was like 6 hours late. It was horrible, and they fed us, and we were all sitting around waiting. But it was okay. We hadn't planned anything else. So he showed up, and he walked in with his mother and his grandmother, and all the girls were like, "Oh, there he is." But he wasn't. It was a different time because he wasn't as famous at that time. Like now, it's just. I'm sure it would be much different. It would be a madhouse. But at the time, it was. A little bit, like I thought I'd seen him in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, Basketball Diaries, and I thought that he was a really good actor, but it wasn't like he was a sex symbol like he is now. It was different. So he came in, he was cute, and they instantly took him back and wardrobed him since he was late. They were like, "Get back there!" And it was funny because the first thing when he came out, he was wearing. They'd put him in. I think it was. I'm not sure if it was Gucci or Galliano or something, but it was like this really 60s looking suit, like a mod suit with the really slim pants and stuff, and we all kind of like made faces, and he was like, "What?" Instantly, "What? What's the matter?" And we said, "Well, your suit, it's not 40s, it wasn't at all. It was totally 60s, and we're all like into the clothes and everything." And he said, "Oh, well, hold on a sec." And he went back to the costumer and he told her, "They're all saying my suit's not, 40s." He was really worried about not looking like right, but it was a nice suit, and he wore it for a couple of shots and he had him change it. But he actually went and asked his mom and his grandma, "It's okay, do you think I look all right?" And his mom was like, "Well, let me see the pants." And she kind of messed with the cuffs a little, make sure he was presentable, it was kind of cute. I asked him his age because he seemed like 16 years old. I mean, he looks young. And then to have his mother and grandma, maybe he's not old enough to be here by himself. I wasn't sure. And he was the same age as me. He was 21 at the time, so. In Titanic, he was running down one of the hallways, I guess is what he said, in the water, and he fell, and he pulled his ACL tendon, or whatever you do to your tendon, I'm not sure, break it or whatever. And so it was really hard for him to hold his weight on one of his knees. So everything we did, we kind of had to favor one knee. We'd show him a move, and he'd have to go, "Well, let's do it the other way." And he'd do the girl's part because it had to favor the other knee. A lot of the dips and stuff were on the wrong side so he could hold me up, but hold myself up a lot. And Leibowitz would say, "Look in her eyes, and make it really sultry looking." And he'd look down in my eyes and make some stupid face, and we'd start laughing. And she'd say, "Come on, guys, serious now. We're wasting time. The sun's going down or whatever," because they were using a lot of lighting from the windows. And so he was being a ham. Well, actually, the night before, I was so nervous. I was so excited. I get to dance with Leonardo DiCaprio and all this stuff. And once he got there, he was so down to earth and so like a kid and playing around and stuff that it wasn't like I said, it wasn't like he was a sex symbol. I wasn't looking at him that way, really. It was kind of, it was really cool to be doing it, but it wasn't the same thing as I had imagined it to be because he was so funny and so goofing around like a kid.
Next up in our Leo-tastic program is a look at Leo's growing presence on the internet. That's right, Leo's fame isn't restricted simply to screaming girls and fanzines. The internet has gone Leo crazy too. There are thousands of sites worldwide, all dedicated to worshipping the one and only Leo. Everything from poems to short stories, news and reviews, and of course plenty of Leo pics can be accessed in seconds via the World Wide Web. In this way, fans from different sides of the world can share their opinions and information, or just their personal thoughts about their favorite star. Remember to look out later for details of Leo's official website address. So if you have access to a computer, you'll find hundreds of thousands of people who love Leo just as much as you do. Go ahead, cyber chicks, check out all the great Leo sites now. Leo may seem like he's led a charmed life, but his luck nearly ran out one summer's day when his desire to try anything, particularly anything dangerous, almost had tragic consequences. It was a routine skydive, but it nearly went horribly wrong. Halfway through his jump, Leo realized that his ripcord had become stuck. Unable to release it, he found himself plunging helplessly towards the ground. But luckily for us, and for Leo, help was at hand, and it was his instructor's quick thinking that prevented Leo from tumbling to an untimely death. Now part 2 of our guide to astrological romance. Will you be Leo's star-crossed lover? With a Taurian, Leo will experience a wild and passionate affair if he meets the right girl. Gemini's complex personalities will intrigue Leo's inquisitive nature, but don't let your chatterbox mouth run away with you. He'll be more interested in other, more physical activities. Scorpios and Cancerians often have an instant sexual chemistry. Enough said. Leos, the star sign, not the actor, may love Scorpio's darker side, but will also need all the affection and security a Leo, the actor, not the star sign, is known for. Virgos may find a soulmate in Leo, and it may take time before a more intense relationship develops, but in Leo's case it must be worth the wait. Finally, Libran girls may find at first they have nothing in common with Leo. But don't worry, if you do succeed in landing him, you can expect a tender and lasting relationship.
Hi, my name is Jessica. I live about 2 blocks away from Leo, and I guess that makes me the luckiest Leo fan in the world. So I walk my dogs by there like almost every day, and every time I go to school I drive by there with my mom. This is a photograph that Leonardo signed to me that I got from my pediatrician because he goes bike riding every morning with Leonardo's dad. And so when I went there and for a checkup, I asked them if I could get a picture signed, and they said yes, and then I got it for my birthday. And I saw that it was signed to me and it had my name on it and everything. I was just like, my face got all red, and it was just, I went over and gave my mom and dad a big hug, and it was just like the best present I could ever get for my birthday. Even though I do live close, it's kind of frustrating because I can't just like go over and say, hi, how you doing? But like, it's good because I get to see him around places and around the neighborhood and stuff. The first time was my friend came running to my door saying, Leonardo's playing basketball at the high school down the street, come over, and he's playing with no shirt on, and I was like, oh dear. So I went and I got my dogs, I took them for a walk, I went over there, and there he was playing basketball with all his friends. And my dad and my little brother had gone down there also, and they went and played basketball to the court next to him. Then as he was leaving, my dad called me over, so we were basically walking towards each other, and I was just, for that whole like 2 minutes, I stopped breathing, and I was just like, I couldn't look him in the face. And then when we were both crossing each other's path, I just looked up. His blue eyes, and it was just wonderful.
Prepare yourself for all the inside gossip on Leo's loves as we chart the women he's dated and the ones that got away. Obviously, Leo is a babe magnet, attracting the attentions of some of the world's most beautiful women. But which kind of girl does Leo go for? His first love was high school sweetheart Nicole Bescher, who was the first girl he ever kissed. He also had a crush on homecoming queen Jennifer Faust, but she ditched him when he became too big-headed. Surely not. More recently, Leo's said to have been dating gorgeous Kristen Zhang, but she too cooled when she realized that his mega stardom meant he'd have the world and many of its women under his spell. She's not kidding. Here's just a list of some of the girls Leo's rumored to have turned his amorous attentions to. Texan model Bridget Hall, actress Liv Tyler, supermodels Naomi Campbell, Eva Herzegovina, Helena Christensen, and Johnny Depp's girlfriend Kate Moss. Bet Johnny wasn't too thrilled. He's had the hots for Roseanne star Sarah Gilbert, Juliette Lewis, and models Lisa B, Carla Pinacre, and Bijou Phillips. Wow, quite a list, Leo. But don't worry, Leo still says he prefers ordinary girls.
Yes, well, when he got there, when Annie said, look at each other's eyes, he said, well, do you have a piece of gum? I guess he was embarrassed, you know? And I said, okay, and I gave him a piece of gum. We were chewing the gum. She said, okay, ready? Here we go, guys. And he dipped me back, and he went like this, and his gum fell out of his mouth right on my neck. And I was like, oh, gross, get it off me. But it wasn't really that gross. It was Leo's gum, so how gross could it have been?
Unfortunately, we've nearly come to the end of our look at the life and times of Leonardo DiCaprio. But before we go, let's see what the future holds for him. A star of his magnitude can now have his pick of the best roles in Hollywood.
I think his next choice of film is really important. And I think that he's at a stage now where he's going to have to make a choice based on what he really wants to do for his personal growth and development as an actor. And also his populace, the people that are out there that love him and are waiting to see his next film. I mean, you've got the very young and middle-aged, and everybody is looking for what's next, what can top the roles that he's already played. And I think it's going to be that type of empathetic character that he has to just sort of, you know, people are going to have to just want to love, you know, and it's a challenge because, you know, there's so much that can be said in the world about, oh, that's negative, or that's not right, or why are you doing that, and things that adults don't want young people to see, that perhaps those are the people that want to go see him. So there are a lot of questions that are going to have to be weighed in order, you know, and maybe at the beginning, I'm sure that those questions were there too, but they weren't as prominent as they are now. And he still has to, you know, stick with his gut feeling about what's going to be a challenge for him also, and what directors he wants to work with, what, you know, co-actors he's going to be with, and that sort of thing. So it's tough. The higher you get, I assume, on the, you know, up the ladder, the more difficult the decisions are, I'm sure. I think he'll be able to handle it. He's a pretty stable, level-headed guy, and I think that you know, never regret, only learn and go on, because we're sitting out, there's an audience wanting to see his next piece. I mean, it's like, you know, I mean, it's a little selfish of us, but on the other hand, and he's doing the right thing. He's taking some time off now, you know, doing what he wants to do, having fun, getting his thoughts together, probably reading material, and, you know, spending time with people he doesn't get a chance to spend time with. I mean, that's important, because this is only an aspect of his life. Here we are as the audience wanting more and more and more, but yet we have to realize that they're people and they have lives and they have, you know, directions, and that's really important, that, you know, you have a balance in life. You can't be, you know, and that's something that's going to be very difficult for Leo to find right now, is a balance. And that's okay, he's young.
Absolutely.
Youth helps.
Latest Hollywood gossip has Leo linked with numerous high-profile projects. But whatever the future has in store for him, one thing is for sure: he's gonna be around for a long time yet, and for that we can all be thankful. With his film roles ranging from star-crossed lover to abused child, from retarded boy to doomed athlete, Leonardo DiCaprio has become the world's ultimate movie icon. Recognized wherever he goes, adored by millions. As his character says in Titanic, he truly is King of the World!